Welcome back, everyone, to the best podcast in New York. This is the episode of the Assassin Cast for the week of April 30th. Wow, I just got hung up on my words so bad right there. I'm Jeremy Malaspina, accompanied by my co-host Dan McCarthy, the one and only. And we have an action-packed episode this week where we'll be going over the following topics. We are going to be talking in depth about Marvel Infinity War. We're going to give you the review, our thoughts, and a discussion on how that movie was.
Spoilers.
Oh, and there is spoilers. We might as well get this out right now. There's fucking spoilers. So, listen, I was going to split these up, half and half this week. But since we're doing this review, I'm going to leave it all as one. So this way, if you skip to halfway through, you'll not get any spoilers. Next week, we'll go to that format. But this week, we're going to stay on the normal, typical hour podcast. All right? We're also going to be talking the new trailer release for Ant-Man and the Wasp. Our thoughts on that. Later on in gaming, we're going to be discussing Ps4 mods for the firmware 4.55. Is it worth doing on your system? We're going to discuss that. We also have Red Dead Redemption 2. We're going to talk about its release and the trailer with gameplay, which looks amazing. We'll get into that. We're also going to be talking Yakuza 6. We haven't got to discuss that yet. In the last couple podcasts, I saw that they released cheats, which is kind of funny. Because it's like, why are you going to buy this game for... $60 and cheat through the whole thing. But we're going to talk about that and its relevance to Sega. So that should be an interesting discussion. We're also going to give you the quick update on the Nintendo Virtual Console. We got a date for that. So when we get to it, we will let you know about the date. And last but not least, we're going to talk Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze on the Nintendo Switch. And it's a re-release, and we're going to see if that's either hurting or helping Nintendo's case. So we'll get into that. So any news? Any news on your world this week?
Nope. Just glad to see you finally saw Infinity War. Now we can finally get in depth.
Oh yeah.
And see what everybody else thinks about it.
Absolutely. So the people that are catching up with us right now, I didn't get to see Infinity War last week because Dan went and took a day off, went without me. But it's all right.
Like a true fan, but
yeah. Well, we couldn't get tickets by the time we decided we were going to go. So obviously I had to work. You went to go see it. I wanted to see it in the movies, but I didn't have a chance. But I wanted to do the review, so I sucked it up. I saw it. It wasn't terrible quality on the website, but it wasn't the best. It's not like, seeing that shit in ultra high def at the movie theater, which would probably have been awesome. But
the recliner,
yeah, the recliner and all that shit. But it actually was a great movie. So we're gonna just skate right into that topic. All right, and I was only gonna put up just that for the movies today, but since Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer came out, and Ant-Man was not in Infinity War, we're going to speak about that after. So I felt like it makes sense. So why don't you take it off, Dan? Let's give your thoughts on Infinity War.
Like I said, and I think I told this to you when we talked about it a lot. I watched a lot of the earlier cartoons as far as it went with Marvel. My older brothers were a little bit into the comics, so I got a little chance to read them. But as far as going into this movie and understanding Thanos, I had a little bit of an idea, but not as much. But I think that's what I liked so much about it. Right. I think from the start, once they talked about this movie and I looked at the cast and the immense amount of actors and, again, I'm already, from a fan's perspective, worried about egos and I need X amount of screen time. Yeah. How am I going to do it? I was worried. But then the way they did it in this movie, having it solely focus on Thanos, I thought was spectacular. He was the main character of the whole movie.
That's the truth. And honestly, Marvel did a good job. In particular with this movie. I saw a lot of different reviews on the matter, so I felt like our review is going to matter the most because we got to really see everybody's review before we did our own, and it doesn't affect what we're thinking and what we're going to say. But in general, the way Marvel came about on this movie, it was good because they built up for this moment. If you go back to all the extra credit scenes through the last 10 years, it was providing a build-up. Like, you knew Thanos was coming, and when he did, it was going to be a in-depth story, and it's going to be mainly focused around him. And, before, I guess, like, one of our first podcasts, we were talking about, like, everybody's going to die. Like, we knew something was going to be fucked up. We just know how the comic story goes. Shit, I'm losing my train of thought here. So the fact that they built up to this point was awesome. And like I was saying, like, we didn't know what to expect going into it, but from the jump, it was action-packed. Like,
Exactly.
I don't think there was a moment in the beginning where there wasn't action. Like, there was maybe like 2 scenes with Tony Stark. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I got to pump back on that. It actually starts with Thor. So right off the jump, you're left from... So I guess if you look at the movie timeline, it's from not Black Panther. It goes
Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok, which came out first, and then Thanos appears. So, like, obviously at the end you see his ship and there's something going on, but then you don't see that in-between part where he's killing off half of Asgard.
Which I couldn't, for me, was shocking. Was like, I love that they showed you just how strong he was right off the bat.
Right off the jump.
Like, he took a beat real quick, like, he took a little quick beating from the Hulk, and then just whooped his ass. Pretty much just, like, what I loved about it, too, is you didn't understand how strong his lackeys were, too.
Yeah.
Like, even as little guys that followed him around, the whole movie, those guys were legit.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even want them going down.
Exactly.
Like, he had a couple of, like, blood elves. I don't even know what those 2 guys were, but they were nasty. Then he had some guy, that telekinetic guy.
Yeah.
Like Yoda.
Fuck.
I'm like, this is...
What was his name? Something Maw. Something Maw, but yeah.
I never remember that, but I mean, just that alone, it starts off and it breaks Loki's neck, ends, kills, I always forget the character's name, Idris Elba's character. Boom, kills him.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, right off the bat, he just took out, like, all these people.
Yeah, so what's crazy is, now, if you remember in Thor Ragnarok, Thor doesn't have the hammer anymore. So he's...
his Helya broke it.
Yeah, exactly. Helen broke that shit into a million pieces, and he's pretty much strictly all thunder and lightning these days, in the beginning of the movie. So, that being said, you get to see Thor's weakness. It's like, he got his dad saying, listen, you're not the god of hammers, you're the god of fucking thunder. Like, you're more than the hammer. But in that instant, it was like, you got to see how weak Thor really is. Not to say that he can't hold his own, but Thanos is a big dude, and in the comic and cinematic universe now, he's fucking top rank, right? He's like the biggest, baddest villain they've ever had. I mean, now, in the actual comic line, he's not the biggest or the baddest, but he holds his own. And before we go a little deeper into the story, I told you just before we started that I went and did some research because I felt like it just didn't make sense when I was watching the movie in its entirety. That this is an Infinity War. It's actually Infinity Gauntlet, loosely based. It's like a little bit of both, but you're really seeing Thanos get the stones, which is the Gauntlet storyline. So that kind of threw me off.
You were saying that? I think they did that on purpose. The more I think about it. Because if I called it the Infinity Gauntlet, if I was going to see that movie, I would have already said, okay, he gets everything.
Oh, maybe.
Like, I wasn't 100% sure how they were going to do it. Through the comics, I'm okay, he gets all 6. But I'm like, are they going to do it where he gets like 3, 4, and then the movie progresses into part 2 or however they're going to break it, maybe even part 3 of him getting them all. Yeah. But the fact that he was like, boom, he got all 6 before it finished was kind of crazy. Now you're going to, and now you're going to go into a whole nother avenue like we were talking about.
So they're going to elaborate more on this story. It's definitely not over. We know that for sure.
Oh, of course.
So the key factor here is with the storyline is that Thanos is looking for balance. That's what he wants. He wants to balance the universe. He wants balance on planets, and that's why he goes in and he takes half. If you haven't noticed, he killed half of Asgard, You know, which you don't really get to see any of the survivors, but obviously there are some survivors. You know, he goes and he kills half of a planet. You know, he tries to bring balance to the universe. So that's
Gamora's was where he found her. He killed half that planet.
yeah.
And even
So
emphasized how good it was after he did such, cleansing, as he
exactly.
puts it.
Well, that's another thing. So let's talk about Thanos real quick. So Thanos' character is the first, I want to say, villain that you actually get to see where he's coming from and his thought processes of what he wants. So that's pretty big for a superhero movie to give some depth to a character that's a villain. So
What's funny is you might not even classify him as a villain.
exactly,
You get it from his perspective.
Yeah,
Like you see, like his rationale. I understand that we'll call him a villain because yes, he's killing half the universe, but the rationale behind it is not so he can be this almighty dictator. So he can like he didn't even want everything after that.
exactly.
He just wants to do it, like he said, and then just go relax, and he can look at a sunset or a sunrise, as he put it, and know that his job was complete.
That he
which
did
fucking
what he
crazy.
had to do.
Like I said, that's why I thought it was a great way they did it.
Absolutely, and even halfway through the movie, when they get the Soul Stone, right? The Soul Stone, yeah, Soul Stone.
Yeah.
And he has that scene with Gamora. When he throws her off, you could see that there's pain. You know that he's upset doing it. So there is some.
I knew that was coming too.
There's something. Everybody knew that was coming.
But except her.
Yeah, exactly right. You're always the last one to fucking
You don't
know.
love anybody. Why are you crying?
Yeah.
Kind of to you.
Yeah, exactly. So before we get into that part of the storyline, let's pump the brakes and go in reverse real quick. So we got to see. Let's start from the beginning and work our way to the end. All right. Let's start with. Let's start talking about the Hulk. First off, we already brought it up. He gets his ass kicked, and then Rygar opens the fucking Bifrost and sends him fucking tumbling towards Earth. Right. And who does he crash land into? Doctor Strange's fucking humble abode. Right. So right off the jump. Shit. Fuck. What's his name?
Bring the two of them right into it.
Yeah, so Mike
Well,
Ruffalo,
Doctor Strange.
who's playing the Hulk, he already knows what the fuck's going on, right? So he's going fucking crazy trying to let everybody know and whatever. And then you have them run into Tony Stark, right? They go looking for him because this is a fucking problem. So they're talking this out. You know, he's all happy to see him. Now, if you think about it, the Hulk hasn't been in an Avengers movie since the first one. I'm pretty sure. He wasn't in the second. He wasn't in Age of Ultron. Right?
He was. He wasn't in Civil War.
Oh, that's right.
It was after Age of Ultron he left, where nobody was sure if they were going to do Planet Hulk. Like, that's what they kind of Ragnarok really did. But yeah, then they kind of split it like that. He disappeared after that. But Civil War, which honestly felt like a third Avengers anyway in my mind.
That's
was
true,
where you didn't see him. And then, they brought him back in. So that was cool, too, because he gets teleported in, and now you just realize the time lapse.
Yeah, exactly.
He's asking, call him. No, nobody talks anymore.
Nobody talks anymore. Everybody's on their own fucking thing.
2 years.
Yeah, so now you're talking like a 3-year difference. So now all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. We got the Yoda Maul-looking motherfucker coming through.
Yep. Like Rampage, that guy's name. They're pretty sick.
And then right off the jump, they walk out the door. You got Doctor Strange's dude, his friend with him. You got Mike Ruffalo and Robert Downey. Yeah, Ruffalo. And then you got Robert Downey Jr. all about to do their thing. And then you get to see Iron Man's new suit. And that was one of the things I wanted to talk about on the podcast is after all these reviews I've seen, nobody talked about Iron Man's suit. So I wanted to talk a little bit more in depth, right?
Nanotech.
That nanotech is interesting, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. But first of all, when you see him go and get suited up, the arc reactor is like in his chest again. I don't know if anybody else saw that, like, Pepper says, "Oh, why did you got the surgery so you don't need that?" And he's like, "This is for your safety. It's to protect us, blah, blah, blah." So now it's back in his chest. And then it kind of makes sense because that typical armor in the comics is actually in his blood. It doesn't come out of his chest. It's in his blood. So it's coming. That was what I like the most about this movie is it resembles the comics a lot in many different ways, and it's going to be an ongoing thing as we discuss the rest of the movie. But his armor right off the jump was awesome, and you don't get to really see it in full force in that particular scene in the beginning because shit's going down. He's just trying to protect the stone, pretty much. So you're not really seeing like the full force of it. So long story short, that armor is dope, and we'll get a little bit more in depth when we get halfway through and you see the Guardians. We'll talk more about the armor. But also, in that same scene, Peter Parker gets his spider senses going. So you want to talk about that real quick?
Well, that was what I liked. I said to you is the fact that they brought everybody in so quick.
Mm-hmm.
So immediately, it's like you're starting off after you just watch Ragnarok. Boom, he's back in with them. The Hulk's back down. You already brought Doctor Strange in.
Yeah.
Then right as that ship lands with Thanos' little crew, boom, Spider-Man's in it. And then they're fighting. And like you said, like it was really like I like that they didn't waste any time. The whole part of the movie just completely flowed right away. Then boom. But you have him chasing after the ship after they grabbed Doctor Strange and they take him into the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got Iron Man and Spider-Man, and like you said, you get to actually see an even better Spider-Man suit.
Yeah.
Which Iron Man, Tony Stark was already making for him.
Yeah.
He didn't tell him obviously because you got to think he's a dumbass kid.
No, actually, I saw. I think it was a post-credit scene of Homecoming where the suit is made. But he doesn't have access to it.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to give it to him yet because he didn't join him.
Exactly.
But then he just gives it to him, and then, like I said, it just flows right into it. Now you've already got Spider-Man coming in with his new suit, which was awesome. Yeah. Another nanotech vibe.
Well,
that's the legs off his back.
Yeah, that's the Iron Spider suit.
Yep, the Iron Spider suit.
So, right off the jump, you get to see him, and Peter's about to die in that scene because they're going out of the atmosphere and he's losing oxygen. So, and on a whim, Tony sends the suit so that he's saved, which is another thing that's interesting. You don't really get to see a lot about the tech because for them to be going intergalactic, there's something else going on with this tech, this nanotechnology. Yep. What's crazy is Black Panther, his suit is nanotech also. But you don't really see them getting that technology from the Black Panther. So you don't really see Tony going to Wakanda. That's more of Captain America's side of things. So after they split, it's interesting to see that if Tony is coming to that point where he's discovering that technology, that puts him neck and neck with the Black Panther and their technology. Yep. So it's very interesting. So the Iron Spider, that was a beautiful suit. I think that shit looks fucking
like 20 minutes
dope.
Into the movie.
20 minutes into the movie, you see Spider-Man kick it into fucking gear. And Tony doesn't want him going on the ship, but he fucking goes on anyway. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. In that particular scene, they're on the ship, and Doctor Strange is getting tortured. So he's got a whole bunch of spells to protect the stone, but that dude can't get it off of him for shit. And they actually made some other movie references, which I
thought was really funny.
Yeah,
they knew exactly what he meant too.
Yeah,
which made me laugh.
Exactly, they reference Alien and how they, blow a hole in the side of the ship so he gets sucked out like the mother alien, like the queen. That shit was awesome.
It worked perfect. And he threw him out.
Exactly.
And then you get to, right away, which I thought was funny. You get to see the dialogue, like Tony Stark and Peter Parker. They do really well.
Exactly.
Or Robert Downey Jr. I forget Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. Yeah.
I like the two. I like their dynamic in there because who is this? Like even Doctor Strange was because they still had what I thought was good was they still did the comedy similar to what I saw in Thor, where it was just like little one-liners, but it was pretty funny. Who is this guy? Your ward?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Like it was funny in that sense, but they did, like I said, bring it in the Guardians right with them, and then just flowing in, still back on Earth, putting everybody together, getting Captain America like in that scene where she's like I told you the Blood Elves as I teased that they were fighting because those two were nasty too. Mm-hmm. But they, it was kind of sick the way they set that up because that's where I told you the arcs were. They did it really well because while you're watching Tony do his thing. Boom! Now you're jumping over and you're watching those two Blood Elves fighting against what's his name, Vision and Scarlet, And then next thing you know, boom, Captain America's back, and they're fighting and doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was like I said, it was
It
just
was.
the way they flowed. I thought was phenomenal.
It definitely flowed very well. It was definitely action packed, and on top of everything else, the storyline made sense for the cinematic universe. Like they weren't going to tell the Gauntlet story and then tell the Infinity War because it's just too long of a story. That's what I was getting at before.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, so it was impossible. But just from what you get to see, the way they introduce each character was beautifully done. So it's like then you got the Guardians meeting up with Thor. They go and respond to the distress signal, and Thor,
Which was awesome.
yeah, which was fucking awesome. And Thor,
Rocket really is comedic relief.
yeah, he is.
Saying how awesome he is, and he's already calling him captain. Like, I'll take the rabbit with
the
me.
rabbit. That was like the ongoing joke. So I'm sorry, I'm getting like blown up right now. I don't know why.
But no, I can even go. But that's why I said, like you said. So when you get Thor blowing up, going into he's meeting up with Guardians, and then even smartly, they cut it in half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they take half of the Guardian cast and put it with Thor to do that side arc storyline. Then you take, what's it called? Chris Pratt, Gamora, and who's the other one with that?
Drax the Destroyer.
Drax was it? Yeah. They put them all together, and the three of them go and meet up with the rest of what's it called? With Tony Stark and them on the rest of the other planets. So it was like I said, breaking it up because what I was really, really worried about. Was like you're gonna have obviously not jumping ahead to it, you're gonna have end scenes where you have everybody
exactly.
But before that I was like, how the fuck are you gonna fit 10 movie stars on one piece with that actually makes sense? So they did it right by cutting it, and then it all obviously came together in the end.
Now, even though Thor didn't have a lot of screen time, he had a very important role. And what was cool about Thor's role in this movie is when he goes to get the axe, which is now his new weapon, which we could talk about that for a second, which is pretty dope. So the way the hammer was made was it was made out of a 1,000-year-old star, dying star. It was forged from it, which when he says that in the movie, you're like, wow, that's pretty badass, but it goes over your head.
Yeah.
It's like he says it, you think about it, and then it's gone. But for the fact that you get to see that was fucking dope.
And
that
was handles made from Groot's arm.
From Groot's arm. That's like even more dope. Like, come on, you can't get more dope than that.
And then a big shout out, by the way, for a little Peter Dinklage showing up in that. That's my man Tyrion from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Smith, which I loved.
Exactly. And you know what? He did a good job too. He played that role great. And for Thor to be standing in the fire of the fucking star is awesome. So it was good stuff. So they forged the axe, and that plays an important role because Thor finds out that the gauntlet was made from the same shit. So that's a problem. Once he hears that, he's like, now I really need this shit. And I really need the axe. So they make the axe, and it took a lot, and the whole dynamic with Rocket and everything. That shit was funny. Thor's been bringing a lot of comedy to the universe lately, and it's great. So, you get to see that. That was awesome. And then, so now Tony and Spider-Man, they're all on Titan, and that's when they run into the rest of the Guardians cast. And they start fighting Thanos when he gets there. And if I'm not mistaken, that's when he gets the Time Stone. So he already got the other stone where Gamora was going. He, kidnapped her, I think, right? Or did that happen after?
No, by the time he gets to there, so Thanos he has the 2 stones already of space because that's how he keeps teleporting. And I can't remember the other one that he's holding on to at that point because he already has 2 by the time we get there. Yeah. And then he picks up the one from the Tesseract. He breaks that because he steals it from Loki. So now he's got that one. And then when they split up the Guardians, one's going to nowhere and the other one's going to another area to block it. What's it called? The Cellar. I always forget. I think it's Antonio Banderas. No,
it's the dude from Snatch.
I forget his name.
He's in Cicero, or whatever it's called, and he's in Snatch.
He's so they go there, which was another cool one because then you get to see him fucking around with the Reality Stone.
Yeah, Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean? So you get to see him like when she stabbed him. And I was like, oh my god! This is the end of the movie. I'm quitting Marvel forever. But it was
Yeah,
really good the way he did it. And then
exactly.
obviously, she tries to get Chris Pratt to do what he promised.
And
Turns
then
into a
it
bubble
turns into
gun,
bubbles. That was
and
fun.
then he
Then you get to
takes
see
her.
something funny from
Yeah.
Thanos. That's
But
pretty cool too.
then he
Yeah,
just takes that away, and then, like you said, that
absolutely.
now he knows what he has to do. Now he
Mhm.
just needs, he gets the Soul Stone to make it 4, and then
Yep,
the last 2 are on Earth, and he knows where they are,
exactly.
which is even
So
worse. Like, you don't think of that. It'd be better to spread them across the universe.
exactly, you
But
would
no,
think.
they're both right next to each other, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna go grab them.
So that's a bad look, obviously. So we knew that was
Yeah.
going to be bad. Before we go too much further, the Soul Stone. So yeah, when they're
Also,
fighting,
Easter egg on that too.
yeah, we're going to talk about that real quick. But when they're fighting Thanos, let's talk about the Soul Stone first. So when they go to that planet where the
Yep.
Soul Stone's being kept, and Gamora gets thrown off the fucking cliff. The person that you run into on the fucking planet was Red Skull from
Yep.
Captain America, the fucking first Avenger.
Yep.
That shit blew my mind. I was like, holy fuck, that's right. He got sucked into space from the Tesseract.
Yep.
So you're like, holy shit. Like
Yeah.
that like
That's was his bond. He said.
yeah, and it's actually not even him anymore. It's like a
No.
version of himself.
Yeah, it's like his death shroud, or however they
Yeah.
call it. That's all he is.
Exactly. He's actually playing a character that it's a different character, but it makes sense in the universe.
Yep.
So when they're fighting Thanos on Titan, they almost get the gauntlet off. As
that
they're
was
doing
later,
as they're doing their teamwork, you know, they actually get really close to pulling it off his hand. It was literally off the top of his fingers. And then, Chris Pratt gets all pissed off and punches him in the face. And then, what's it called? He gets all angry and whatever. And that's when she loses his head. And he fucking...
Mantis, yeah.
Yeah, Mantis. And she fucking gets back into the gauntlet. And that was it. They got fucked up. So... That was a wrap, and then before the major big fight scene at the end, Tony gets stabbed. Because he tries to do that last battle with him. And you know what's funny, before we go on to that, you get to see the strength of Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man was putting up a pretty good fight against Thanos. So for that young kid to be actually putting up a fight, he did good, he did well. So, Tony actually goes in, and that's where we're going to talk about the suit a little bit more in depth. So now this nanotechnology, it's almost like he thinks it, and it makes it. So it was like, oh, I need these strong metal fucking hands to punch this dude in the face. And just solid blocks of metal on the tip of his hands. It was amazing. It was amazing how that suit was transforming to different things that he needed. And that was something that I wanted to talk about on the podcast because nobody else was talking about how fucking awesome that was. So that shit was great. And then, that leaves us to the last and final battle. They go to Wakanda after, Chris Evans meets up and saves the Vision. They go to Wakanda because they need help getting the stone off Vision's head, which I thought didn't make sense off the jump.
It's hubris right there.
Yeah.
Love fucked everyone is the way I look at it.
I mean, it's like...
She couldn't just... He said it in the set, one man's life wasn't worth it. But I even laughed going back just a sec to the last scene that you saw with them fighting. That opened up so many doors because you finally saw what was transpiring. I think they talked about it where he used the time stone, Doctor Strange, to look at all the possibilities of where the Avengers would win. He looked at 14,065,000 different zones.
5. Something weird.
And saw them where they one-on-one.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's like what I say. So it all played a role because apparently a lot of stuff they talked about was when obviously he gave the time stone to Thanos in order to save Tony Stark. It makes you realize how the importance of Tony Stark to the storyline.
Exactly.
But also there was a little key thing I thought in that fight is when he put his steel hands on all that work they had to do.
Mm-hmm.
He made Thanos joke. He's like, all that for a drop of blood.
Yeah,
and then laughed at them and fucked them all up.
Which is crazy.
There was a point to that.
Yeah,
I feel like it was showing that Tony Stark at least to realize he's not immortal.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
He can bleed, so you need to realize that because that's got to be something key to what is going to help them to defeat him.
Exactly.
But then obviously he puts the time stone in, uses the space stone to teleport himself to Earth.
Exactly.
And just when you think, they're finally doing well, in the Wakanda fight because you get to see Rocket finally shooting stuff with
Yeah,
Thor,
and with
which is
Bucky.
a pretty funny combo
Yeah,
together.
no, it was
Groot
Bucky.
killing
Oh,
shit.
yeah. He was with Thor too. That's right.
Yeah.
And then Bucky picks him up, and they're spinning around, shooting with each other. Yeah.
So it was cool to get that whole mixture together. And then, like I said, once they all realized Thanos was there,
And that's when
like you said,
shit
you
went
also
to
get to
shit.
see the
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch and how strong she was
Yeah, exactly.
in
Yeah.
keeping him back, despite the fact he had 5 of 6.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I already saw what was coming, unfortunately for myself.
That's the
second
thing.
you held
We
it back,
already talked about it in one of our first podcasts. Is that everybody dies?
Oh yeah, not even the death
not
part.
everybody
just back.
absolutely
You thought,
died.
They
Yeah.
saved the day. She broke it, and he's just like yeah, and just turns
and he
it right back.
spins his fucking gauntlet counterclockwise and fucking
makes her watch. Which
Yeah.
is even worse.
Exactly. So yeah, I think that the end part of this movie was probably the best and the worst at the same time.
Yeah.
The best was because you got to see all of their reactions. Like, these are supposed to be the baddest motherfuckers on earth, you know, fighting for us, sticking up for us. And one of the things we didn't touch on is Thanos' army was the army that came in through New York in the first Avengers. That's something we didn't get to speak on. But besides all that, it's like, you know, they went through hell on that. And for them to see that this is the guy that caused all that chaos, you could see it in their face that, like, this isn't going the way they want. And I think it was nicely done, even the way they portrayed it at the end. So pretty much he gets the last stone. And, you know, Thor's doing his thing somewhere else, obviously.
And then he comes in.
And he comes in at the end like a fucking badass. Fucking axe to the chest, pushing it into his chest more. And he grabs him behind the fucking head. And it was like, I told you. I told you. You know, it's like...
Thanos gets the best one-liner ever.
I don't even remember what he said.
Next time, aim for the head.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then he snaps the finger.
Because he didn't kill him right away.
Exactly. And,
just
boom. Man, that was the worst part of the movie at that point, because when he snaps the finger, I didn't think that it was going to unravel so quickly. But if you think about it, that was over the course of 2 hours. So they unrolled that plot in 2 hours. And then all the shit went to shit. It felt like it was so quick. Maybe because there's so many different people and you're seeing so many different sides of the story all come together.
Yeah, you're trying to keep up with everything, yeah.
Yeah, so it just felt way too quick for it to just be done like that. But then once he snaps the fingers, the gauntlet is destroyed. So that kind of makes me... I don't remember in the comic what happens after. I know Andrew Warlock... He takes the gauntlet. Adam Warlock. He takes the gauntlet from Thanos and then disperses the stones. I'm pretty sure.
There's a few different ones. Gamora does it as well.
No, not Gamora. Other sister, actually. She's the one that takes it off of Thanos.
Yeah, sorry. What's her name? Yeah, the robot.
Yeah, he like made her all machine every time she fucked up.
But no, yeah, you're like watching that, like you said, that we saw the gauntlet disappear, and I think I said it to you before the podcast. Suddenly seeing Thanos in that area with child Gamora looked like he was inside the Soul Stone to me. So, like I said, I think he died. Honestly, I think he died with his snap, because if he's all like doing what he says, where he's taken out half, there's no reason a coin flip wouldn't be put on his life.
Yeah.
But the Soul Stones, having a Soul Stone gives you one free. Like life. So I think he came back to life, and that's where you saw him at the end doing what he said, like, you know, almost insinuating like he's God.
Yeah.
Took him 6 days to create the heavens and the earth, and then on the 7th day he rested.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he did. He watched at a nice little sunset, and then you saw the gauntlet like all looking like it went through the ringer.
But you don't really see the gauntlet until after Thor was like, "What the fuck did you do?" You know, that's when you see the gauntlet. When he's sitting by himself, you don't really know where he is.
No, he's just relaxing, yeah.
So, then you see that little cutscene with Gamora, which doesn't bring any closure to the story, obviously. And then everybody starts to fade and disappear into fucking confetti. Which I didn't like that at that point in the movie. Because all that confetti fucking bullshit, it just doesn't make sense in the comic.
That's what it would do. He disappeared from existence.
Yeah, I guess if that's the point.
And then who was left? Did you notice that?
Okay, so the people that were left were Rocket, Thor,
the original Avengers.
The original Avengers, which is Hulk. The Hulk, Tony, Thor,
Captain America,
Black Panther's gone. Scarlett Johansson, she's in it.
And then Rocket.
And Rocket, and then Black Panther, the chick from
and a couple of the
The
ones,
Walking Dead.
One of the side stories from whatever their name are.
So
they were still in it, but we don't care about them.
Well, I mean, come on, that's not important. So obviously, there's going to be another part 2. Another thing that pissed me off about this fucking movie, only one thing. I loved the movie to death, but there was 2 things that pissed me off. One being that at the end of the movie, when all this shitstorm is happening, you have fucking Director Fury coming down, and he's like, do this, do that, and then they see the fucking planes crashing, and he gets out of the fucking truck, and he turns around, and he fucking sees everybody turn into confetti, and pulls a fucking beeper out of his pocket like it's fucking 1993. And
who did he call?
Yeah, and before he could even get a motherfucker out, he's confetti, and the person he calls is Captain Marvel. Which pisses me off, because if you think that this shit is fucked up, why wouldn't you call it from the jump? Like, this is a whole lot different than what's going on.
But you have to understand is what I was thinking there too, is the timeline of how quick things were happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we were assuming it was, you would assume it was going on for weeks. Like, how do we not know the timeline wasn't like 10 hours?
Exactly.
Like 10 hours from when, Tony Stark and them are first fighting with Doctor Strange to when they're in Wakanda.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been that quick. You don't even know what's going on. Yeah. So he's still trying to figure it out. But it was good that they brought that in, because now you'll have, like I said,
now we get to
my whole thing, even talking of that, is what are you going to do in between these movies now? You're going to have about a year.
Mm-hmm.
So we know Ant-Man 2, which is obviously...
so that's our next topic.
But we don't have any... you don't have any concrete... You can't do Spider... How are you going to do Spider-Man 2 if he's
You can't.
dust?
You got to finish that
story. How are you
story.
going to do Black Panther 2 if he's dust? How are you going to do Doctor Strange 2 if he's dust?
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to do Guardians of the Galaxy 3 if 95% of them are dust?
Exactly.
Or dead, the only thing you're going to be able to do in between this is Ant-Man versus... Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. There could be
Captain
another
Marvel.
Iron Man. Or you could
I don't
see...
think they'll do another Iron Man.
You don't think so?
3. I think 3 is their max. There won't be another Captain America. They won't be another one of those. You can't obviously do... I think what I kept thinking is, even if they're filming them, like the new Spider-Man, let's say, the new Black Panther, that shit takes like 3 years.
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
Like production to on the movie. So I don't even... honest to God, I don't think we're going to see much in between this year. I think you're going to get a nice... You'll have Deadpool coming up soon. You'll shift into Ant-Man Wasp a little bit later.
Yeah.
They'll drop Captain Marvel big time, whether it's like, I don't even know the release date, maybe by Christmas or something.
See, that's
then you'll
the thing. I don't know.
Try to find something else you can plug in like March. Boom, May next year. You're right back with Infinity Wars. Everything will get whatever, like we can insinuate on that next couple of podcasts, but it'll be enough where everybody comes back to life. I'll almost guarantee it.
Well, I mean, once Doctor Strange reverses the time, then everyone's going to be back.
He said that at the end, which I thought was really important.
It was part of the plan.
It was like there was no other way.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just disappears.
Yeah, and that's it. He turns into the fucking confetti.
As they joked in his hand, Peter Parker, good luck telling Aunt May.
Yeah, exactly. So, plain and simple, the movie was great.
I really did.
Yeah, so over here at the Assassin Cast, I think it's we're giving this a 9 out of 10, I think.
Yep.
There was a few things that I disliked, like the storyline. Out of the rank of all the Marvel movies, it's up there. It's definitely up there. I like some of the solo movies a lot better.
Civil War I liked a lot.
Civil War was good, yeah. So it's up there. I'm not going to say it's the best, but it's up there. And like we said, the storyline's a little misused with the comics, but they had to do it to explain.
The movie would have been 5 hours long.
Yeah, they had to do it so they could break it down into a reasonable time frame. I mean, even at 2 and change hours is big, So, I mean, if you were to tell more of the story, it would have took a lot longer.
And again, another thing I'll quickly throw in there, which I hate at the fucking movies, if I got to have people not only clapping when the movie starts or something in their quote-unquote great thing happens, when fucking people are showing up on the screen, I had to hear applause.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Fucking Captain America catches that spear. Yeah! Like it's the World Series. I'm like, okay, guys, stop. Like, I can't stand that shit at the movies. Rant over. but it just pissed me off.
Yeah. No, I could agree with that. It's like, come on, have some respect for some fucking people in the movie theater.
No,
Like, not
everybody does
everybody.
it.
Yeah.
Like laughing's one thing, like we all giggle, but
Yeah,
come
but like,
on.
come on, you can't be clapping like it's the
Yes, because I'm
fucking
sure
Super Bowl.
Chris Evans was, he almost lost his concentration because he can fucking hear you when you're
Exactly.
laughing. Like, come on. Stupid. I don't know when
Exactly.
that started.
I
Maybe I'm
don't
just
know.
old.
But maybe.
Yeah.
But so all said and done, it was a great movie. We didn't touch up on the Hulk, so real quick, the reason the Hulk is struggling is that he's been struggling. He was
Well,
a
his
Hulk
ego
for
is
two
bruised.
years. Yeah, his ego is bruised, but I think it's a little bit more in depth.
Yeah.
So I can honestly say I think there's a movie coming for him because there hasn't been one in a while.
That would have been good.
And if you know the story of the Incredible Hulk, it's like he has trouble keeping him down and keeping him out. So it's like they're constantly having an inner battle with each other to who is out and being a person. So that's why he was having trouble becoming the Hulk, because it's just not
Good
only
comedic relief in that too.
yeah,
Like,
not only
sometimes
was he's
he yelled
getting
no.
exactly no, not only is he like I guess his ego's hurt, but there's a lot of other things going on. Like he even brings it up in Ragnarok that like, I can't have him, I can't suppress him anymore. Like he's having trouble controlling it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. So now let's move into the next topic because we're fucking going off on a tangent right now. We still got all the topics to get through. So let me just check the time. Yeah, we got to pick up the pace a little bit. But that was our review, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Honestly, a lot of information to take in from the movie alone, but it's good for us to break it down for you. So let's move into the Ant-Man and the Wasp. So obviously they weren't in the Avengers. Their new trailer released. I don't have a date for that. It's obviously sometime this year or before the next Avengers.
It will be before the next Avengers.
Next part 2, yeah.
Yeah, I saw this. They had it during the movie as well.
Yeah.
The trailer for this.
So what did you think about the trailer? Did you see it?
Yeah, I did, and I liked it. The only reason I'll watch this one is because when the first one came out, like I thought it was a fucking joke.
Really?
Yeah, like I thought when people I still remember my brother and one of his good friends at work who are big Marvel fans talking about it. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Ant-Man, really? This is a movie?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so stupid. But I didn't wait. I waited till it came out, like on when I could stream it when it was on like Blu-ray.
Mhm.
And yeah, I liked it. I actually did like it.
Yeah.
I still one of my things I'll be most bad as the original Guardians. I never saw that in the movie theater either. I'm like, oh, it looks stupid. Then I saw it and I was like, oh fuck me.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I was like,
So,
I don't want
I
to see
can't
Guardians of the
underestimate
Galaxy, the fucking B list. I don't want to see that shit, but it
And
actually
then
was
it
good. Yeah.
And then that's what I mean. So this one looks just as good. I'm glad they're finally incorporating the Wasp.
Yeah, that's cool.
This is going to be a separate timeline from the way I understand it. It's going on before Thanos ever came. So
Really?
there's no correlation between like you're going to be watching this and it's going to be like, oh no, Thanos. But what I wouldn't be surprised knowing Marvel is that there will be something in at the end credits that will lead towards something else.
Probably something else, yeah.
Like whether you can, I mean, for all we know, they're not stupid like DC, where DC showed us in their original trailers that Wonder Woman.
Yeah, that's fucking retarded.
You could have
Come
Captain
on.
Marvel, Brie Larson pop up.
Yeah.
in Ant-Man, but they've already discussed that movie as well. That's going to be based in 1996.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's why it was a throwback to the Beeper.
Yeah, probably.
That we won't know yet, but it's supposed to be based in 1996.
Either that or fucking Samuel L. Jackson's on the
Who doesn't have
corner
a
selling
beeper?
crack.
But that's what we're leaning. But it looks like that one looks really good too. I'm like again, I don't know if I'm just gonna have the fever rolling after Infinity War, so I want to see that.
Yeah,
too, but
I mean, I want to see Ant-Man and the Wasp. It looks good.
Yep.
There's something about Paul Rudd. He's bringing a lot of comedy to it, so
Yeah.
it looks good. I'm not gonna lie.
they've all done well with that though.
Yeah, absolutely.
'Cause
And
I hated all the originals. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like the original Thor, I was like, nah. The original Iron Man, like, nah.
I like the original Iron Man. That's one of my favorites, actually. I don't like him in the cave so much because it's like, how's this guy in a fucking cave come out with a fully functional suit? Doesn't make fucking sense. But I did like the first Iron Man. It was a nice way to introduce the character. But for the first Thor, I wasn't 100% with it. I didn't like the storyline for that. But like I said, we can go on and on and on about how many of these wonderful storylines that they have after 10 years, but it was amazing. It was amazing to see them put this all together. So yeah. So So yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp. We'll give you a date sometime. Um, we'll give you a date sometime when we get it. I forgot to write it down. Still good?
Yeah, it's still doing it, but all right, keep going.
All right. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. Hold on. Sorry, we're having a little technical difficulties. Better?
No,
No.
don't worry about it.
All
Just keep
right,
going.
whatever. So we have a lot of little feedback going on. But anyway, so let's move on. So yeah, when we get a date for Ant-Man and the Wasp, we will let you guys know. All right. So that's it for the movie portion of this Assassin Cast. Like I said, I didn't want to, since there was going to be spoilers, I didn't want to break this into two. So sorry in advance for this extra long edition of the Assassin Cast because we're
Yeah.
moving and grooving right now. So for our moviegoers, we hope you like the review, and we will see you next time on the Assassin Cast. And moving on to gaming. First topic on the gaming section of the Assassin Cast is we discuss PS4 mods on firmware 4.55. Is it worth doing to your system? Explanation and discussion.
I don't think it ever is anymore.
I don't think it's worth
Not
it
gonna lie
myself either. Did you check out the link I sent you?
I was looking at it, but again, like I already know what I told you from like past when I used to always do stuff like that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't fuck with any of these new systems. I'm not trying to bust in
Absolutely.
like the Xbox One X or just a One for that matter,
Yeah.
or the PS4. Like I'll do something like that when I get a new one. So for instance,
yeah.
if they came out, if you had like the PS4 like Pro
Mhm.
and that's all you're gonna be gaming on, yeah, I'd probably fuck around with the PS4, with the regular one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd probably mess around with stuff like that. But
I agree.
you gotta be willing to understand that you can fuck up your shit.
You can fuck up your shit bad, yeah. So, I'll explain it real quick in a little bit of detail. I won't go full force detail on it, but plain and simple, there is a software hack for the PS4 Pro. So you're not really cracking open the PS4 per se and soldering it in. But you know what? We're old school. That's how we used to mod our consoles. Like my modded original Xbox had a chip in it. So, which I don't have anymore. I wish I still had it. It had my whole collection.
Yeah, I still have mine. I think I'd have to look.
Yeah. So, but besides that, it's like they're doing a software hack, and it's in the early stages of development, which is kind of funny to think because the PS4 Pro, the PS4 in general, has been around for a while. Let's see, when did it come out? I think it was like 2013. I want to say when the PS4 came out. So now you're talking about a couple years now, and they're just finally now cracking this.
You got to be able to get on the memory too, like I told you. Like
Yeah.
you can't focus on like back when I used to do it on the chips and stuff and the old games. Like we would burn games.
Exactly.
But people would think like that's not free. I needed a fucking like a Blu-ray disc, DVD disc,
to
like
actually
to hold the amount of memory. So then you're paying $2-3 a disc. So yeah, people be like, oh, it's not that bad. Well, yeah, when I got to buy them in bulk at 50 a pop, I got to be able to, and not to mention it didn't always work. So for these, if you can't hack into the actual hard drive to make sure you can save things that you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I can't download games to put into there, it's a fucking, I don't even think it's going to be worth it.
That's what I was going to talk about. That's what I wanted to discuss a little bit about it. So now, it's different than like hacking your PS3. When you hack the PS3, once you put on the homebrew, the actual system files, you're able to rip stuff to the hard drive, and you're able to do a bunch of different things, add emulators and whatever the case is. But with the PS4, since it's in its early stages, you have to make a package file. So it's like if you wanted to rip over a game, like let's say it's the new God of War, right? So you have to create a package file with all the necessary files with the actual God of War file on a thumb drive, and then install it like a package onto your PS4. Honestly, to me, it seems like that's a lot of work just to be able to have your stuff modded. It's like, what benefit are you going to get out of it? I mean, there are some people that take it to the next level and they totally adjust different stuff with mod menus in the game, and they start hacking the game up and doing crazy stuff.
Well, yeah.
So people take, exactly. So people are going to do it either way. But to install the package files, it doesn't seem necessary. But the link that I included on the topic list. It was from a guy on YouTube. He was showing how to put PS2 games onto your hard drive on the PS4,
Yeah.
which I thought was pretty useful, to be
Well,
honest.
for you, I think that would be like, yeah, because you
Yeah,
love playing your retro games
I
like
like my
that.
retro
For
stuff,
you,
so.
instead of like, and I'm sure your girl would love it even more. So instead of having like
Hmm.
a huge dresser of all your games, you could compile them all into one PS4
Yeah,
and play them.
that's it.
I mean,
It's
for that type, why you can't do that in the first place blows my mind. But
exactly. I mean,
like, you
well,
know what I mean? Like, you should be able to put your games that you have like already bought like
mhm,
onto whatever, maybe an external hard drive that
yeah,
you could just plug into a USB port at the back of the PS4. Boom, play it. But
exactly.
it's like, because you have to keep every individual console. It gets a little
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Well, that's the point we're at right now. Like, we were talking shit about Xbox a few podcasts ago about
Yeah,
how they have their backwards compatibility, and we were saying that they should have had it from the jump. But
absolutely.
from my perspective with Sony, it's like, you know, that we should have been had this also, but we don't even have that opportunity. Now you got to
It's
mod your
ridiculous.
shit to be able to fucking have those games on your
Well, it
PS4.
leads you into, again, I don't want to skip topics, but it jumps me thinking of like when you were talking about the Switch and
Yeah.
re-releasing the Donkey Kong. But then you know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't have to re-release it. I should be able to play it. The Switch makes sense because those games are from like the 70s and the 80s and also on 90s and so long before. But they, in the whole scheme of things, they just want you to fucking buy the game again.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I
The
mean? Like,
virtual
they don't want you
console.
to be able to be like, they'd rather tell you, I'll give you a digitally remastered
Mhm.
original Red Dead Revolver that you can play. Like, they're not going to let you just
Yeah.
play the one you already bought
The
because
one you have already, exactly. So I guess it has its good and its bad. I just think that it's not worth it in the end. I
No,
mean,
I don't agree.
I would say like let the software, like let the people working on the software get it to a point where it is doable and it's easy, like the way it is on the PS3. Because a
Yep.
modded PS3 is very easy to use if you know what you're doing. So if they could make it like that, then yeah, it might be worth it. But to me, I don't think it's worth it right now. So that's
Yep.
where I'm at with it. But you're right; they should be able to open that kind of stuff up.
Well, it's needless to say, Sony and Microsoft are dicks.
They are. But we'll get into Nintendo's bullshit also when we get
Yeah,
later down
too.
the
I agree.
list. So next up
Nintendo just
on,
was very dear to my heart.
yeah, I know.
That's why I have a little more love.
For Nintendo, yeah, me too.
Yeah, I
All
know. It's
right,
like that
well,
old grandma that says racist shit at dinner. Like, you
yeah,
don't
it's like
agree
you
with
love
it, but
her
you're like,
deep down
yeah, you love her
inside.
deep down. It's in there.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, so let's move on. We're talking Red Dead Redemption 2. It has an October release date, and let's talk gameplay. Did you see the trailer?
I did, and it looks
Yo, that shit looks
pretty good.
fucking incredible. That shit looks fucking
I
incredible.
never remembered the hoopla around the first one. I was kind of like, I played it a little, but I was like, I mean, it's a good game. Don't get me wrong. And I
Yeah.
played through it, and I'm like, it wasn't like, because again, it was another sandbox game. So I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, go
It's
drink
like-
some whiskey if I feel like my day's been sour, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's like
But,
the Wild West.
This new one's gonna be incredible now. I already know it.
Oh my
Just
god.
because of
it
the
looks like a
graphics
movie.
we can see.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's
It,
incredible.
it looks like an interactive movie at this point.
Which
Yeah.
they're all turning into.
So exactly. So like this is what's funny, right? I'm pretty sure Red Dead Redemption is Rockstar. Am I right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty
I
sure
believe
it's
so, yeah, yeah.
Rockstar. So now we were talking last week about, I think that was last week. We were talking about Grand Theft Auto hitting 6 billion in sales, and like, what are they doing this gen? We haven't really seen anything in that particular
Yeah.
series, but now you get to see what they've been working on with Red Dead Redemption, and you're like, holy fuck, this is a fucking movie. Every gameplay that I've saw was unbelievable. It just was like something else. Like the realistic in their face, you can see the definition in their beard. Even the storyline looks good. So everything, I have nothing negative to say about it at the moment. I think it looks great, and it's slated for October, so they're trying to get on
By
that
that time, you should have the Pro
pre-Christmas.
or whatever you decide to get.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I want you to really see that in the 4K. I know your
Well-
TV is compatible. It is ridiculous, dude.
Exactly. And you know what's
Really
funny?
good.
I was going to bring that up actually once we got to 4K. I was on YouTube this is a little side story. I was on YouTube on my TV, and there's a 4K section. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, yeah, let me check that out.
Ridiculous.
It is
Nature scene,
fucking,
right?
yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. It was like being in the middle of
I wish I
Peru.
told it. I
Oh
wish
my
I told you
god.
about that. My brother-in-law, when I first bought my TV, that's like I told you, I have a 62-inch or 61 and a third. I think it actually is Sony, and
Hmm.
that's the first thing he told me to put on there. It was like whatever. It was like nature scenes, and I remember immediately like texting him back and being like, how did I ever watch TV the regular
Yeah,
way?"
it's
And
like
he
it's
just started
almost like
laughing.
being there, and that's the
But
same kind
nobody
of
streams. I think
shit.
only DirecTV streams in 4K. By the way, nothing else has it. There's no 4K
Um,
streaming from Cablevision that we have around here in New
no.
York. There's no 4K from Verizon. It's only the satellite dish. DirecTV is the only one that has like a few things that'll actually stream in 4K.
Yeah, so I can't
So
speak for our fans that are out of country because
exactly,
I
they
don't
might know
know
better.
yeah, I
Country
don't know
state.
how that works, but YouTube has a 4K section. A lot of people are
Yep,
recording their
Netflix.
videos in 4K, and Netflix is coming in 4K. The
It
cable,
already is.
yeah. So cable is a lot different because though that's like broadcasting, and they're only going to broadcast the cameras they have, and eventually they'll make the change, but not yet. As
I would think
for
Cablevision would. I would have thought Verizon would have, if
yeah,
I got to be honest,
but
because they're a
still,
newer company and in our area. I would have felt they should have relayed. They were stupid. They should
it's
have laid the
really
groundwork.
yeah, but it's really not their fault because it's not Verizon. Like Verizon could send you an upscaled stream of 4K, but like let's say it's
They're not
news,
using the
the
cameras in
news.
4K.
Yeah, they're not recording at 4K on the news. So how are they going to give you a 4K signal?
No, it's true.
Everybody's got to make that transition first. But as for Red Dead Redemption, the
It's gonna look.
it looks good. It looks almost as good as God of War. Like that realistic look of God of
Yep.
War has the same sort of look for Red Dead Redemption. Only you're talking like mythology and the Wild West. It's night and day shit, but they both have that good looking graphics. It is something else. And you're right. Once I upgrade, That's probably gonna be one of the first titles I end up getting. Is gonna be God of War, probably Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
There's a couple things that catch my eye, like Spider-Man. That's one that I definitely.
Yeah, that one looks good.
I
I told you
saw a
there's
lot
one
of
in my
that.
mind is Kingdom Hearts.
Oh
Kingdom
yeah.
Hearts, when that finally does drop, will be the first one I get because it'll be the first time it's ever released on Xbox.
Oh nice. So
I
that's
usually
good.
have a
Yeah.
PS4. I only had, like, told you, the only reason I ever had a PS4 was just for certain random games.
Hmm.
Then it became like stupid for me to even. Why do I even have two when I've
Yeah.
always been an Xbox man? I was like, man, why am I even fucking getting this when I'm not going to play other games in it?
Well, yeah. I mean, for the exclusives,
But it
it's
does,
good.
like God of War is one,
Yeah.
the MLB the Show.
Yeah, that looks
Like there were
really
games
good.
that,
MLB The Show
yeah,
looks
it's fucking
great.
really
Yeah. So, I mean, as for Red Dead Redemption,
Redemption.
that
Be
shit
good.
is up there. It's going to be good. So when it gets a little closer to October, we'll talk more in depth because they only really showed gameplay, which is good. That means they're really far along with it, and they've
Yeah.
had some time to do it. But it looks really good. So if you haven't checked that out, guys, go and check it out. It looks amazing. Um, so yeah, we were going off on a tangent. We were already almost an hour in, guys. So we apologize. We got like three topics left. So moving on, let's talk. This is a funny one. We're gonna give our thoughts on Yakuza 6, the gameplay and storyline, and we're also gonna discuss Sega in the software market.
Hold on, you take this because you hate hearing this. It always makes me laugh.
Oh my god! At least it's not the Dreamcast 2. Oh, it's the Dreamcast 2.
Joe, I've been waiting years for this thing to come out.
It has to be that. They're gonna make an announcement. Like, fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here with that. No, it's not. It's you know what? This isn't even really news at this point in time because Yakuza 6 has been out for a while. But they released like a cheat guide for some of the stuff, which I guess it's a hard game. I haven't played it myself. I know you haven't. But it hit the list because I wanted to speak on Sega in general. So Yakuza 6, it's an open world game like the sandbox games, but it takes place, I guess, in Japan. I want to say, I think Yakuza is Japanese, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it takes place in Japan, and it's interesting because it's almost like a Grand Theft Auto, but it's different. It's like there's a different kind of fighting style. Like the video I was watching, it's like he's picking up a bike off the street, like someone's bicycle that they're riding, and he's beating the
man with a bike.
shit out of people with the fucking bicycle. It was awesome. So it's like a different sort of style to the gameplay than a regular open world stuff. And with the Yakuza series, it's, you're talking like 6 games deep. The main character, he wants out of the lifestyle, but something keeps bringing them back in. It's like The Godfather, the way I've heard it, which
Yeah,
it
well, that's
makes
really what it is. It's
sense.
like the mob.
Yeah,
Yakuza's like
exactly. So
like
it applies. So the reason we're bringing this up is we want to talk Sega real quick. Sega in the software market isn't a bad thing. It looks like they put a lot of work into that game. And you could see it. Even the graphics on this game that we're talking about look amazing right now on this gen. And that's Sega. The gameplay looks solid. Like the mechanics and everything look solid on it. So Sega's doing their thing, but it's more like from behind the scenes. Like they're not up on the front line telling you with the Dreamcast too. They're doing the fucking software right now that they're making good games. So I can't hate on what they're doing, but you know, for the people that are saying, "Oh, we want Sega back in the hardware market," it's not gonna happen. So get that fucking thought out of your head now, before I have to fucking jump out of this computer screen and fucking rock you in the fucking nose. I'm getting sick of hearing about it, but I mean, they were actually they released. I think we already talked about it last podcast or the podcast before it about their Sega Genesis Mini. That's what they were going to release for the 17th time. They're releasing the Sega Genesis Mini.
all right,
Like, get the fuck out of here with that. So it's like they're just trying to be relevant, but the whole point of this being on the topic list is they're already relevant. It's like they're doing software, they're focusing on their software, and when they put in the work, you get a game like Yakuza 6. So, do you want to add anything to it? I kind of took that topic away.
I told you, I knew you wanted to. It's all good. That's what I was seeing as it's sitting there anyway. Sega's like, I said it always holds dear. It's like the next one that you're going to a Nintendo. Some of them always hold dear to me, so I'll always give them a shot. But yeah, they just, in all honesty, just need to evolve as time moves on.
Yeah, I mean,
like I don't think if I was even on a marketing standpoint for Sega, I'd tell them like, listen, like the window's done. Like making a console and trying to get into this business and fighting against, Nintendo with the Switch will always stay relevant enough where they're making money because people love Nintendo. Exactly. But as far as trying to fight against the PS4 or Sony and Microsoft, it's a waste of your time.
Which we
so
already
just hyper focus on other areas, and they could do that with ease. If they just, it's so true. They really could. They just have to. If they just evolved with the times, they could become extremely relevant. Like you're saying, if they just focus on their software or specific games, there are titles that Sega has that they can create games that are
right now,
on the other consoles. Of course they make money for Nintendo too. But if you drop like a fucking Switch, Sega, Sonic the Hedgehog. For instance, people would go crazy buying that shit.
Exactly, but
you know what I mean? I know it's a Sega game, I get that, but
but you're right.
If you did stuff like that, you'd be more relevant than you are trying to keep up with the rest of
I wasn't going to say Sonic the Hedgehog because they've been trying to do... No, that's a good example, but they've been trying to do with Sonic the Hedgehog, but it's not working out. They've kind of fucked that whole franchise up.
That's what I mean.
But I was thinking more of like Shinobi. You know what I mean?
You do like Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage, like a realistic fucking fighter. Yeah, man, it's relevant. It could be relevant. I don't know if that's a Sega property actually. Streets of Rage. I was thinking more of like Shinobi.
I know you were thinking specific. I'm just thinking of games that I love playing on the actual Sega.
But you're right. But if they focused strictly on software,
what is that, Beast Wars? That's another great game.
Or like Altered Beast.
To your doom. You know that game? The game was legit. You were like a werewolf.
Oh my god, that's funny. Yeah. Oh shit.
Many years as a child was spent playing.
Oh hell yeah, man! That Sega Genesis. I'll never forget my Sega Genesis. My uncle bought it for me, man. I'll never forget that. That was one of my favorite systems.
Side note: my brother still talks about that. My brother's 35 years old. Says whenever my brother-in-law talks, he's like, "You came over." When you were dating my sister, now they've been married 25 years. Like you came over, and the first thing you gave me was a gift wrap game of Super Mario 3 on Nintendo.
Oh my god!
He's like, right at that moment, we were family. Gets him like a tear in his eye when he says it. He's like, that's all you had to do.
That's awesome. That's fucking awesome.
Yep.
Holy
Simple
shit!
Stuff in life, man.
Yeah. All right. Well. So that's it for Sega. No, we got two more. One's very quick, and then we're going to the last topic. So that's it for Sega. And, as the news progresses, we will get into it. There's actually a topic on the list that we won't get to that we're going to add for next time, but by then it's not going to be relevant because it's not technically news, but we'll still speak on it. All right, so quick update for you guys. Since I said that I would, I'm a man of my word. I was been keeping a close eye on Nintendo right now, and supposedly they're going to be announcing the Virtual Console on May 7th. So now, just for you guys to know, May 7th is the day. Make sure you pay attention to the Direct or any news coming directly from Nintendo because they're going to be announcing something and we have no idea what the fuck it's going to be when it comes to the Virtual Console. I mean, we were speculating last week about it. We really don't know. So we're going to see what happens. I did speak to my friend Irene about it, and she was like, "Oh, let's see." I was like, "Yeah, I guess we'll see."
Yeah, because you can't jump it. That's what I mean. You don't know anymore.
You know, she's a big advocate for the Switch,
Of the Switch, you say, yeah.
So we'll see what happens. So if she's not sure yet, I'm not sure yet. That's how I go about it. So, but speaking of, so May 7th. Before moving to the next topic, May 7th, they're gonna have Virtual Console news for you. So, good thing we're breaking the news first. Yeah, right. So anyway. That's a first. Oh shit, what the fuck did I just do? Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, never mind. Sorry guys. Alright, so for the last topic of this Assassin Cast for April 30th, we're going to talk Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze on the Nintendo Switch. Is re-releases hurting the console, or is it making it thrive? What do you think, Dan?
I mean, I guess it defines on the definition of thriving, right? Is it making the Switch this incredible game console that's like, blowing everybody's mind? Or are you saying thriving because they're making money? Because like I told you before, the Nintendo has, for me personally, maybe it's just, like I said, I'm 33, so I don't know if it's that time. And it's probably people a little older than me that were really into it. I want to even, like I told you, my one brother, and even before that. So maybe you got to be like 40 when if you were real into it. Like, that's about the time when you were playing just strictly Nintendo and maybe a little Atari. But is that the re-releasing stuff? Honestly, to me, if I was marketing for Nintendo, that's what I would tell them to do all day.
Yeah,
they keep re-releasing games that people haven't seen in 30 years, and you will make a boatload of money.
Well, that's the thing. So now the re-release isn't the retro games. Like, they've been re-releasing the retro games, but we're talking strictly Wii U, from Wii U to the Switch. They've re-released Zelda Breath of the Wild. So now Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is on the Wii U.
So do you have to buy it for the Switch, or do you
now you have to buy it for the Switch?
See, that's what I mean. Fuck you. That's where I get pissed off.
Exactly. Fuck you, Nintendo. I mean, come on, seriously. Like, if you bought, like, that was some, I guess, poor planning coming from fucking Nintendo to be able to get.
I have a fucking Wii U too, you cocksuckers.
Yeah, exactly. They already got your fucking money. It's like,
I hate them. I fucking hate them. That's why now I'm gonna get mad.
And it's like they totally kind of just said fuck you and your Wii U. So like, if you have your Wii U and your Wii U games, guess what? If you want to play it on the Switch, there's no way to buy software from the App Store to convert it on your computer and put it on an SD card. It's not happening.
No, I could probably just go to GameStop and get 30 cents for the game that I
Exactly, and fuck GameStop too, because I would love to tell another story about GameStop, but we don't have time. But yeah, exactly. It's like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it is technically hurting the console, but it's not. And this is what I'm saying. It's hurting Nintendo's pride, really, if you think about it, because there's people like me and you that are like, yo, what the fuck? Like, how are you gonna make us buy the same fucking game twice? But on the reverse of that, there's more Switch owners than Wii U owners.
Yep.
So technically, this re-release is a new game for them. You know what I'm saying?
They should re-release it, and then if I was that, like, if they wanted to be like actually like good to the rest of the people, like a month later, just be like, hey, by the way, you can work on it too.
Like, what
you know what I mean? Like, making it compatible, because that's kind of like, people that had these games, like, but I'm not gonna lie, if I remember correctly, are the Switch games as expensive as our games on like the?
Oh shit, I don't even remember.
I haven't looked at them. Less, but
I'm pretty sure they're a little less. But it
they're
depends.
not like, it's not like $8 compared to like $59.99.
No, they're up there. It might be like $49.99, but this is the thing, right? Like, here's an idea for you, Nintendo. Why don't you make a fucking thing on your new virtual console where you could type in the fucking actual barcode on your Wii U game so you can get the download for the Nintendo Switch? Like if you bought it on the Wii U, you type in your fucking barcode, and then you get the download for the Tropical Freeze or the Breath of the Wild. Like, why
There's
would they
something we
do
could
that
figure
shit?
out.
It's like they're greedy. They want more
Well,
fucking
then I mean,
money.
like, if you were gonna do it like
But
that, you have to do one barcode per person. Because then,
oh
if that
yeah,
the case, I'd send my barcode to you. Like, there'd
exactly.
have to be ways to stop it.
But that's the thing.
No,
They
I know what you mean.
record it, or something of the such, right? So this way that people aren't rebuying the same games over and over and over again. And that goes
Then
for
what
the
would you do?
fucking virtual console also. You know, all
Well,
those
I just laugh because if you did it like that, I would go to GameStop, buy the Wii U deep freeze for what, $12,
12
and then use
bucks
that barcode to get the new
to
one
get it on the Switch. Yeah, true. I guess
I mean,
you're
so
right.
they'll find ways to get around it. But no,
That
I
is
know
true,
there has
yeah.
to be a way to get to just let somebody play it on there. But then, yeah,
Just
I
like,
think that's what they're worried about is that type of shit. But
mhm.
that's all that would do is then you wouldn't have the ability to re-release.
Exactly. But I guess
So
like
whatever.
that's why I'm saying that it's both. Like it's hurting and helping. It's hurting
I
because
agree.
most people that got on the Switch early, they already had the Wii U and they had these games, and now if they really like the game, they got to buy it twice. So that's hurting. It's helping because the people that just got on the Wii U that had on the Switch that haven't been on the Wii U, they get to play these games for the first time, and Nintendo has that much faith in their properties that they are releasing it again for you to have on the fucking Switch.
And people are gonna buy it. Let's not lie.
Well, I mean, like, is it a cop out? Like, it seems that they're trying to push this so hard right now because of the failure of the Wii U. But like, where's the R&D for the new shit? You know, like, where's the new games coming out for the Switch? Like, yeah, I can understand you're putting the
A lot of it's nostalgic, though. I agree with you. There's nothing that I've seen like maybe the Zelda. Did they have a different Zelda that came out on it too?
no. There's Breath of the,
That was
oh wait, maybe I don't know. I know the Breath of the Wild that's on the Switch.
But I mean, I was playing like Mario Kart and shit. But again, those are all
that got
released.
re-released. That got
That's
re-released
what I
on
mean.
the fucking.
So
shit.
what are they gonna
I mean,
make new?
They got Smash Brothers coming out. That's
Yeah,
what
they'll
they.
have a few.
So they'll have some new stuff, but it just feels like they're trying to rush shit in so that they stay relevant. But this is the thing; they're already relevant. We're talking about PS4 and Xbox One in the beginning of the gaming section. This is the thing; they're turning into computers. That's what it is. We've already told everybody this already, and Nintendo's keeping it fresh and innovative. So they are relevant. As long as they keep it fresh and innovative, and they
make a profit, they shouldn't give a fuck.
that's what I'm saying, and they keep it above the bar, they should be fine. You know, but it's doing both. That's the whole point. It's not hurting and it's not helping, but it is hurting and it is helping. That's where I'm at. You know.
Yeah.
So that's it for that. So we didn't get to the last actual topic, so it's going to be on for next week's podcast. I won't blow it out now. So I think that's about it for this episode of the podcast. Do you have any other last final thoughts on this?
Just tell everybody who hasn't seen it, go see Infinity War. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, everybody should go see.
Section. As far as gaming, there's just a few games like I told you I'm waiting for. I want to see Spider-Man come out, but I'm gonna be waiting a while. I'll miss the whole summer. They don't release shit in the summer. They know people are outside. They don't waste their time. That's what I've always found. But like for me, my big one for me is Kingdom Hearts. I'm sure that'll be out. Like I said, well, I mean that thing's had so many goddamn delays. At this rate, I think it was supposed to come out in like 2011. For Christ's sake.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since their last Kingdom Hearts, man. It's been like 10 years, something like that.
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
That was on PS2, right? Or PS3?
Yeah, the original.
PS2, yeah.
Well, the first one was, and the second one was on PS3, I think.
Wow.
But now at least I'll get it on my Xbox. But yeah, that's what I'm waiting for.
I'm waiting on that. I'm waiting on some Spider-Man too, actually.
Those look really good too, yep.
Yeah, so what are you playing right now? Still The Witcher?
Yeah, I'm almost finished. I've actually been, like putting a little time in here and there as we've been playing. Yeah. I think I'm on the last area that I have to search. I've been skipping because again, you could do so many. If I wanted to, that's what I wasn't realizing. The sandbox effect. I could do side quests for like 100 hours. I don't have to do that now. I'm focusing and just making my guy like a stud.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny. Yeah. Like I already know. Like I don't have to look anything up. I know how to make him like just pretty much a tank and kills everybody with one shot. It's hilarious.
It's funny. I actually, before we started the podcast, I've been playing Assassin's Creed Revelations. That's what I'm on right now. But I realized that I am not anywhere close to being done. It's like I still have like 8 sections to do, 8 sequences, and I'm like, fuck, man, this is gonna take another 2 weeks at the very least. So the next
Yep.
2 podcasts, I'm still gonna be playing the same game, but I've decided also on that same thought that I'm going to do another shooter, first-person shooter on the side, so I could just change it up here and there because it's not that I don't like the
I
series.
like to
It's
do the
just
same thing, though.
like like I need to have some variety. While
Yep.
and obviously I play the retro stuff in the morning, but it's not my main priority. It's like right now, it's Assassin's Creed is my main priority, and nothing else is getting played. So I want to add a first-person shooter in there. So maybe next week we'll have a surprise for what I've been playing because I haven't really decided as I look over there. And there's a lot of good stuff I have over
Spoiler
there.
alert, he's playing Duck Hunt.
Yeah, duck hunt, shooting the ducks. I wish.
Like the little fucking
Yeah.
beagle. That PC shooter. That used to piss me off as a kid.
I think that guy pissed everybody off. He's like the most hated character in video gaming.
Gotta be up there.
Holy shit. So yeah, man, that's what I'm playing. So I think for news, the news of the podcast, this one obviously went very long. We're at 1:15, which is actually not crazy long. We breezed through the gaming side pretty quickly. News is I'm working on the video for the console cleaner. Sorry. It's at least it's recorded, but I have to edit it. It's tough. We do want to send out an apology to our fans because we've been running a little behind the last 2 weeks, but hopefully this week we should be on time. So besides that, there was something else that is slipping my mind at the moment. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like and subscribe on YouTube.
Yeah, please.
Please
Let us
follow
know.
us. Yeah, follow us on Podbean. We're on Podable now also as well. So
We listen to all opinions. I'll probably disagree
Yeah.
with them and tell you in advance, fuck yourself. But hey,
Hey, but listen,
still, keep them coming. Send
that's
them.
right. Dan's the PR department, so
I have absolutely no problem telling you where you're wrong and why I'm right. I've been doing it my whole life, so yeah.
not
It's no
even a
different here on a
problem.
podcast.
Yeah, so like and subscribe. We'll see you. We'll see you soon. All right. So now from Jeremy Malspina and my good friend Dan McCarthy, we're signing out.
Peace out, bitches.
Peace, bitches.